Today in the wood yard, I'm delivering some wood and I need your help. I've got a problem. So today, actually at the end of the day, I have a wood delivery I have to do. So I backed up the truck over here. I've got some other work I got to do between now and then, but I'm going to get it loaded now so that it's done. So later at the end of the day, I can deliver the wood. And I backed up to my pile here of stuff that, this right here is all dry stuff that I just split along with the pile there that I just uncovered. And I'm going to be loading that in just a minute. So I'm going to get that loaded, and then while I'm loading, I want you to think about something because I need your help. I have been tractor shopping, and all of you seem to be experts when it comes to tractors. Everybody seems to know exactly what I need, how big a tractor, what kind of tractor, what color it should be, how big it should be, and I need your help. So I'm going to talk about some of the things that I'm looking for. I've looked at every color there is. I've looked at the green ones. I've looked at the blue ones. I've looked at the red ones. I've looked at the orange ones. I think that's the only colors there are that I know of. Anyway, I've been looking. Several different red colors, several different orange colors, some blue ones, green ones, red ones. I've looked at all of them. And I'm learning that there's a lot to choose from, and there's a lot of options, and there's a lot of things to consider. And some of the most important things to me are not the most important things to other people. The reason I'm looking at a tractor is obviously I need a tractor here for doing work or eliminating some of the manual labor that I've been doing over the years, which is a lot. And I'm looking for some specific things. So we're going to do some loading right now, and we're going to talk about it while I'm loading. So here we go, it's loading time. Okay, so some of the things that are the most important to me when it comes to buying a tractor. Number one, most important thing, my tractor has to be bigger than my brother's tractors. Wouldn't you agree? Gotta have bragging rights. So, gonna start loading some wood here. So, that is one of the things I gotta consider. Now, both of them have small-ish tractors. One of them has a 25 horsepower tractor and the other one is a 30 horsepower tractor. One is red and one is green. So, do I pick one over the other, color-wise? I know some of you are, you bleed green, so maybe that would be a consideration. So I've looked at the green ones, and they're nice. And I've looked at a couple different red colors, couple different red brands, and they're nice too. And I've looked at some of the orange ones. The one color I didn't mention before is white. I'm not going to consider the white ones because the white ones are basically orange ones. Bobcat is a coyote, which is orange. So, not that I'm not going to consider those, but if I'm going to get a coyote, I'm going to get a coyote. That's all I'm saying. So, that eliminates the white ones. Oh no, people are crying. People are screaming at me right now. Why would you do that? Because that's what I would do. So, now when it comes to the red ones, there is TYM, there is it RK? I guess that's kind of the same thing. And then there's Branson, still kind of the same thing, because I believe that, is it TYM that owns both the RK, or makes the RKs and the Bransons, from what I've been able to tell. I could be wrong, or one's a parent company of one and not the other. So that's something to consider. Now, besides having a bigger tractor than my brother's, which is mandatory, the other thing that I guess I'm considering that is really important to me is how close is the dealership and what kind of dealership is it? Is it one that's friendly, or is it one that you're there just to serve them? I want one that's there to serve me and is reasonably close. It doesn't have to be in my backyard, but there is one of the dealerships that is about 2 miles that direction. Then there's another dealership that is in the consideration that is about 9-10 miles that direction. So those are in consideration. Then there is another one that's in consideration that has a dealership that is, it's probably 4 miles that direction. Not saying what color yet, but those are kind of the ones that I'm considering. So I don't want a dealership that's going to be, you know, an hour away or hour and a half away. Luckily, all the colors are pretty close. There's not too many that are far away. There's only one of them that's a little bit far away, and I think it's maybe 20 miles away. One of the dealerships, one of the colors is about 20 miles away. It's the closest dealership. So that's a consideration, is how close they are. And my first initial response when I stop in at these places is how friendly they are, how willing they are to help me. I mean, if they're not willing to help me sell it, how are they going to be willing to help me service it? So that's important. Now, so that's besides getting a bigger tractor than my brother's and having a dealership that's, you know, nice and is close by and is nice to deal with or have a good reputation, that's important. The next most important thing to me on a tractor, because of what I'm going to be doing with it, is its capabilities and dependability. I'm not a mechanic. I want something that's going to work. I'm willing to pay a little bit more to have a quality machine that's not going to break down, which is why I'm not going to buy a used one. I want to get a new one. There's not that much more to get a new one, and it's something that I'm going to buy once, probably, maybe twice in my lifetime. So I want to get something that's going to last and is going to be dependable, and that I'm going to get, you know, what I want. I'm going to get the right one. I don't want to get something that's undersized and wish I had a bigger one. So I want something to be big enough that's going to be capable of doing everything I want it to and then some, so I can grow into it, not the other way around. I don't want a tractor that I'm going to wish I had a bigger one or was, you know, better for my purposes. So very important to me. So when I talk about capabilities, the number one thing that I'm looking for is I want a tractor that has the lift capacity in the front, because that's what I'm going to be using it for. My ultimate goal with my business that I have here is to someday have a wood processor. And that's one of the reasons why I'm getting a tractor, is that I want to be able to load a processor. It's going to be very important to me. It's something I've been thinking about for probably about a year now. And I thought, should I get a processor first or should I get a tractor first? Well, a tractor is going to do a lot more for me than a processor will, but I need a tractor for a processor. So they kind of go together, I think. But a tractor is going to be able to do snow removal for me, be able to plow everything out, which I will use year round, not just in the plowing of the snow, but to do removal of debris and things like that as I run a processor, or as I even just cut wood and have all the sawdust and bark and debris that I have to move. I also want to do some earthwork. I want to be able to get rid of one of my berms. I'm actually thinking of digging one of the berms out that I had put in when I first moved into the place. It's the one back over here. I'm going to dig that out. I'm going to relocate it to another spot, kind of to block some of the view from the road. And then the other thing that I want to do is I want to put in gravel. I want to basically build a wood yard that I can maneuver around in year round, regardless of conditions, whether it's middle of summer and this ground is hard and dry, which it is most of the time, but in the spring of the year or fall of the year, if we get a lot of rain, especially in the spring before the frost goes out or as it's going out, everything turns to pudding. As you've seen a lot of people's wood yards, or even just their property in general, it just turns to mush. And what I want to be able to do is to take my area right here that you see, all this grass through here, because I drive to either side, I want to put gravel in. I want to gravel all the way around to the other side. So I basically have a large wide circle that I can access. I can plow it. I can move the snow to where I want it, and this surface will be a hard surface so that it's easy to remove snow and to be able to get into the wood. All these different areas I want to kind of open up to where I can get more wood in. I can go over to my pine trees over there, my trees that you see over here, those pines over there. I want to be able to go over to that area. I want to be able to go back to the woods over there and be able to access all these areas and have a hard surface that's dependable year round. So that's kind of what I've been thinking. So lift capacity is going to be real important to me, which is why I'm looking at tractors that they're not small, but they're not big. So maneuverability is going to be important too. So I better get back to loading here. I'm not going to get the loading done today, so we'll move you guys over here so you can keep watching me load as I gab on about tractors. Now, what I'm curious to find out from you people is, do you have a favorite color? I'm just wondering, how many of you prefer red over green? Or how many of you prefer orange over red? Or how many of you prefer blue over green? What are your preferences? What do you like and why? I want to know what you've had for good and bad experiences with any of those colors. Any of you that have had multiple different tractor brands, and if you've actually switched brands and why you switched. Was there a reason for it? Or if you've stuck with one brand, you know, your entire tractor career, and why? Obviously, a lot of people will buy something and they stick with it because they get used to it. They are familiar with that particular brand, or familiar with, you know, a particular size of tractor, where maybe they're just switching from brand to brand, but improving the quality of the tractor from an older one to a newer one or whatever. So that's what I'm curious about. So that's about all I got to say for now. Talk to you in a little bit. I got to finish loading now. So there it is, a beautiful load of red oak that is ready to go to its new home. So I'm going to deliver that later today. But right now we have something more important to talk about. Look what I've got here. Ooh! A veritable potpourri of tractor choices. So, look at here, we've got some green ones, we've got some red ones, some orange ones, some blue ones, more red ones, more orange ones, and more red ones. Wow, there's 7 that I have to choose from that I've narrowed it down to. Now, of these 7, I've already eliminated 2 for sure that I'm not going to get. I know some of you are like, no! Anyway, I really like, if I was to pick right now, they're all nice. It's really a hard choice, because some of the features on some I like a lot more than others. Some of the capabilities I like more than others as far as what they can do. I am looking at somewhere between 35 and 45 horsepower. So that right there eliminates some of the choices. But all brands seem to have good choices in all those sizes. Right around 40 horsepower seems to be about the sweet spot for me, because at about 40 horsepower is when you can upgrade the loader capacity as far as what they can do. Right in there is where you seem to start to get where you can go from, like, you know, on the low end of like 1,200 pounds of lift force all the way up to somewhere, you know, north of 3,000 when you get into that size. So anyway, these are the ones I'm looking at here. This dealer's the farthest away from me. This one is the closest. Actually, I shouldn't say that. These two are very close. The New Holland and the John Deere are very close to me. The Kubota is within like 10 miles or so. Branson is very close. That's within probably not even 10 miles. That's probably more like 5 miles away. Yanmar is close also. That's within a couple miles. Coyote is probably the one that's the farthest away, but not you know, ridiculously far. So that's what my color choices are for today. It'd be easier if I just left this to my wife and I could just say, what color do you like? And then she would just pick a color. I really can't make a wrong choice, I don't think, when it comes to picking out a tractor. For me, it's really gonna come down to the dealership. It's gonna come down to the capabilities, the reliability, and you know, what it'll do for me. So that's where I'm at. So that's it for today. So now in the comments, tell me, what should I get? Later I'm gonna go deliver this, but you don't need to see that. So that's it for today. Let me know what I should get for a tractor. And if you got any preferences, choices, words of wisdom, it'd be interesting to know. And So I'm going down the rabbit hole of learning about it. Let me know in the comments, and as always, get outside, get cutting. I'll be back here tomorrow. You should be back here. And good night, Irene.